Tonight, we're outside the Rogers Center where the Los Angeles Dodgers have forced a winner-take-all Game 7 in the World Series.
But caught. The throw to second in time.
Disappointment, yes, but also hope as fans gear up for one more big night.
Plus, Donald Trump says Mark Carney apologized to him for a recent anti-tariff ad.
I have a very good relationship. I like him a lot. But you know what they did was wrong.
What it means for restarting trade talks with the U.S. And an alleged Halloween terror plot foiled in Michigan.
This is scary. This is something I would watch on TV.
What we're learning about what officials say was an ISIS-inspired plot.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson and Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. We are live in downtown Toronto tonight with breaking baseball news. The Blue Jays battled hard, but the LA Dodgers have forced a Game 7 in this World Series matchup. And so the push to win it all for the first time since 1993 moves to tomorrow.
Into left field, but caught. The throw to second in time.
Understandably a disappointing end for the team and fans, but no one's giving up hope. And with this much heart in this city and this country, how could they? The nerves are real, but so is all that excitement as it all now comes down to Game 7. Pretty emotional roller coaster tonight. So Thomas Daigle is in the heart of it all on the field at Rogers Center. Sentiment there, I suppose, Thomas, onward.
Yeah, it came down to some really good pitching, a few key moments of offense, Adrian, and here we are off to Game 7 in 24 hours where the Blue Jays will hope to clinch the World Series.
Let's go Blue Jays!
Game 6 in the 6 on Halloween of all nights.
Let's go Jays!
It means an opportunity to be a Blue Jay and fly. Go Jays!
As if Blue Jays fans needed any extra motivation to get hyped.
This is like bucket list dreams for me. Go Jays, go! Woo!
We were his age when they won last time, so it's great to bring him back to be able to see history in the making.
At the site of Toronto's last World Series win 32 years ago,
Let's go!
the Jays hoping to haunt the Dodgers.
I'm really worried about weeping, depending on how the game ends up, so we'll see.
I feel like you're already getting a little emotional.
Dude, I can't even handle it.
Pitching for the Blue Jays, their ace Kevin Gausman. Striking out Dodgers superstar leadoff man Shohei Ohtani, then more than half a dozen others.
Kevin Gausman in Game 6 strikes out the side, but that pitch count is climbing here in the third.
But Gausman running into trouble in the third.
And it's a base hit into left for Betts. Ohtani will score.
Giving up 3 runs on 2 base hits, handing the Dodgers an early lead. The Jays facing Yoshinobu Yamamoto, fresh off pitching a complete game and dominating Toronto. Bottom of the third, a returning George Springer driving in a run.
Barger will come in to score, and how about George Springer?
Fighting through the pain.
Into left field.
But the Jays would still come up short.
Throw to second in time.
See you tomorrow. It's going to be electric here. I mean, these guys, it's business as usual, although it's coming down to one game.
The bottom of the 9th ending with a bizarre play involving a ball lodged in the outfield wall, then a double play. Manager John Schneider said after the game he had never here at Rogers Center ever seen a ball lodged under the outfield wall, but it is the postseason. Weird and wacky things happen. The Blue Jays will go on to Game 7 on Saturday night, hosting the Dodgers. But don't forget, the Blue Jays won more come-from-behind games than any other team in the major leagues during the regular season. They won the American League Championship Series in 7 games, so of course this was going to go 7 games. They are, after all, facing the team who won the World Series last season and who came in heavily favored, the Dodgers this time. As of, I think, this morning, the odds makers would have said the Blue Jays were heavily favored. I think it's 50-50 now. It's anyone's game. This will be the first time ever that a World Series Game 7, all-important, crucial, do-or-die Game 7, is played on Canadian soil We'll be here for it, Adrian.
No pressure. All right. Thank you, Thomas. We'll see you tomorrow. Now, Xi and Desjardins is outside Toronto City Hall, where fans were gathered throughout the whole night tonight at Nathan Phillips. So how do they handle that loss, Sheehan?
Well, of course, you can see how quickly it cleared out, which is the exact opposite of what people were hoping was going to happen. They wanted to celebrate. They wanted to party. Instead, as people were leaving, they were saying words like heartbreaking, words like disappointing. It's always much more fun when your team wins. Now, there was a Dodgers fan, so I will say that fan left on a high. But these fans here, they cheered until the very end. And despite the loss, people are still cheering. We hear little spurts of it coming up, and people are still optimistic about what tomorrow could bring.
The double play at the end, too, was pretty tough. So, yeah. But big game tomorrow. Scherzer on the mound, so we'll take that game.
It was a huge disappointment, obviously. I mean, we all expected us to win today. We were all downtown, 50,000 plus people.
That sucked, and people are a little deflated. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we take the win.
We heard from so many fans here tonight, all with so many different stories. People from all over Canada, people from across the world, some hoping to see this one for the very first time, some hoping to experience it all over again. And, you know, thousands stood out here in the cold. They watched the whole game, and they say that they're excited to come back tomorrow. They will be back, and they will keep cheering for their team.
All right, Xi and Desjardins, thank you. All right, so joining us now is a good friend of ours, Devin Heroux from CBC Sports. Devin, we were talking just before we went on the air, before this game started, about how this pitcher for the LA Dodgers, this was a scary pitcher for the Blue Jays. Why and how did that come true?
Well, nobody said this was going to be easy, Adrian, and Yoshi Yamamoto has put on a pitching clinic in the playoffs. In fact, in 15 innings pitched now in the World Series, he's given up 2 earned runs. So I think there was a feeling as Blue Jays fans came to the stadium here tonight that, yeah, it'd be nice to shut this thing down, to win the World Series here tonight. But you had that extra game knowing you were going up against Yamamoto. It was somewhat of a tempered, cautious optimism going into here. I expected it perhaps to be a little more festive, a little more energized. I've been here for 5 playoff games. It's been electric. Tonight, there was this feeling of, yeah, I think maybe we can do this. No, Yoshi Yamamoto had other plans. The Dodgers had other plans. On to Game 7.
Okay, so he's obviously not pitching tomorrow.
Right.
So what does it look like for the Jays, and like what calculations do they have to make?
Well, I think if you would talk to a lot of people who know baseball really well in this moment, they would say that perhaps the Jays have a bit of an edge, and here's why. Outside of Yamamoto, the Jays have smacked around the Dodgers starting pitchers. We don't know who's going to start for the Dodgers at this point. Their manager, Dave Roberts, being cagey, as he should be about that. Max Scherzer is on the mound for the Blue Jays, 41 years old, a soon-to-be Hall of Famer, no doubt. This moment won't be too big for him. I think the Blue Jays just have to stay true to who they are. Relaxed, fun, a friendship, a belief that has fueled them to this point. I think fans should pay really close attention to the first few innings tomorrow night. If the Jays come out and they look nervous and they look sort of caught up in the moment, that's concerning because I haven't seen that throughout the playoffs to this point.
And when you talk about the fans, I mean, obviously we're right in downtown Toronto, but this is not exclusively a Toronto story.
No, this is stretching far and wide across this country, and I have traveled across the country over this 27 days of playoff magical run. People are so proud. It has really tied this country together in a way that few things do, like sports, at its best. And so here we go, one last dance, with everything on the line. And I think if you were to talk to Blue Jays fans at the beginning of this season, let me remind you, Adrian, this team finished last season. Coming into this, I think the bar was very low to start the season. Then the momentum, then the optimism. They had to win 4 games, their last 4 games of the regular season, to get home field advantage. They had to beat the Yankees. They had to beat the Mariners. Then they took on the Giants. the LA Dodgers, where everyone was saying it'll be over in 5, maybe 6. Now on to one final showdown. It's going to be spectacular. You live for these moments. The skipper for the Blue Jays, John Schneider, just a few minutes ago saying, Game 7 in our home ballpark. What more could you ask for?
Game 6 win. But other than that, but I get his point. I get his point. All right. I know where you will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll be together.
Right here.
We'll be from about, late into the evening, seeing what happens. And
hopefully celebratory.
Exactly.
Sure thing.
All right. Thanks, Devin. So we'll be back later this hour with more coverage of the World Series. But now let's get some other news with Erica Johnson in Vancouver.
Okay, thanks for that, Adrian. Well, it has been 1 week since Donald Trump abruptly called off trade talks with Canada over an anti-tariff ad from Ontario. Trump now says Mark Carney apologized for the ad. But as Kate McKenna shows us, Trump also made it clear he's sticking by his decision.
Nice words for Mark Carney, but no action from the U.S. president, leaving the country's trade relationship with Canada once again up in the air.
I have a very good relationship. I like him a lot. But what they did was wrong. He was very nice. He apologized for what they did with the commercial because it was a false commercial.
Trade talks are at a week-long impasse after Donald Trump called off negotiations and threatened more tariffs over Ontario's anti-tariff ad featuring former President Ronald Reagan.
America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Carney's office won't confirm if he apologized, but a White House official says Canada has been tough to deal with.
They've been, frankly, rude and dismissive, and this is how it gets to where we are.
And joining us now is the Premier of Ontario.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who was behind the ad, is capitalizing on the publicity, appearing on U.S. networks and running op-eds, drawing concerns from some of his colleagues.
I'm not sure that it's helpful. In fact, I don't think it is helpful. A trade deal is the goal. And there's going to be a lot of noise between now and whenever we're able to get to that point, and I'm confident that we will. We keep our eye on that deal.
In an exclusive interview with chief political correspondent Rosemary Barton, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says Carney should be held accountable.
He promised he could negotiate a win with President Trump. Those were his promises. Now, some might say, look, it's unrealistic to expect to get that from President Trump. So why did he promise it?
Mark Carney has maintained from the get-go that progress was being made on trade and that Canada is prepared to go back to the negotiating table whenever the U.S. is ready. Trump, it seems, is not there yet. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
And Rosie's full interview with Pierre Poilievre ahead of Tuesday's federal budget airs on Rosemary Barton Live this Sunday, November 2nd at 10 a.m. Eastern. Meanwhile, manufacturers in this country are facing yet another round of Trump administration tariffs. Beginning November 1st, a 25% levy will be added to all imported medium and heavy-duty trucks. As Anise Hidari found out, it's causing concern for Canada's $5 billion truck export market.
Whether you call it a big rig or a semi, medium and heavy-duty trucks imported to the United States are getting a 25% tariff as of November 1st. While there are some exemptions under the CUSMA free trade deal,
built for truckers, by truckers,
Canadian manufacturers like Edison Motors are still worried.
Given the fact that these are heavy vocational trucks where the price tag can be $300,000 to $600,000, a 25% tariff can add upwards of $100,000 onto the cost of one of these trucks.
This tariff applies to all non-American parts in medium or large trucks, a hit to manufacturers who are already concerned.
One of the large manufacturers in Quebec, reduced its production, moved most of its production to the U.S. and is only using the Canadian plant to produce vehicles for Canada. That's not a long-term sustainable situation for most manufacturers.
That manufacturer, PACCAR, cut 175 jobs in July, then another 300 in October. The union there says production has dropped from 100 trucks a day to 18.
How long will it be sustainable to go with 18 trucks a day while this place will command fixed costs way higher? So no, on the long term, there's nothing at this moment that, give us a bit of hope.
Economists say the Canadian market probably can't make up for losing U.S. buyers.
We would also need to look at market access for some of our other trade partners like the European Union, like Japan, and that would be a trickier situation.
Among the problems, big rigs are, well, big and hard to ship elsewhere. These trucks are another example of tariffs leading to shrinkage in the Canadian economy. The latest numbers showing GDP as a whole going down, with the manufacturing sector itself getting smaller as some tariffs get bigger. Anis Haidari, CBC News, Calgary.
As Anis mentioned, Canada's latest GDP numbers show the economy shrank in August. Statistics Canada reports a decline of 0.3%. It cites the hardest hit sectors as manufacturing, wholesale trade, and mining. U.S. tariffs were the main factor there. Some growth is expected in the third quarter, meaning Canada could avoid a recession. Mark Carney says Canada has reached a turning point in its relationship with China after the first bilateral meeting in years. As Rafi Boudjikanian shows us, Carney sat down with China's president at the APEC summit in South Korea, a meeting that got him an invitation to China, but still no relief on tariffs.
A handshake with a country where a cold shoulder has been the norm for years.
Our countries have a long history of cooperation, engagement, and trade. In recent years, we have not been as engaged.
There has been no formal sit-down between a Canadian leader and Chinese President Xi Jinping since 2017, and plenty of clashes between Beijing and Ottawa since. The Canadian Parliament has accused China of genocide for its treatment of its minority Uyghur population. And in January, a public inquiry into foreign interference concluded Beijing was the main state actor interfering in 2 recent Canadian elections. Xi congratulated Carney on his recent election victory, also saying he wants to work with Canada to re-establish relations.
I don't think there's a prime minister out there who would have been in a position to have some kind of a reset of the relationship immediately.
This observer says enough time has passed for the 2 countries to start talking again.
For Canada, the imperative to diversify our trading relationships on quite an urgent basis is there, since the arrival of the Trump administration.
For the Prime Minister, meanwhile, this is just the start.
We now have a turning point in the relationship, a turning point that creates opportunities for Canadian families, for Canadian businesses, and Canadian workers.
Carney has also accepted an invitation from Xi to China himself at what the Prime Minister's office calls a mutually convenient time. Rafi Boudjikanian on CBC News, Gyeongju.
Back here at home, a little rain wasn't enough tonight to dampen the Halloween spirit on Sussex Drive.
Hold on to your umbrella.
Sporting their Blue Jays best, Governor-General Mary Simon and her husband, Whit Fraser, gave out goodies at Rideau Hall to neighborhood trick-or-treaters. The grounds of the Governor-General's official residence all decked out for an elegant yet eerie Halloween evening. An alleged terror plot planned for Halloween weekend is thwarted by the FBI.
This is scary. It is. This is something I would watch on TV that would not be in Dearborn.
What U.S. federal agents say they stopped. Next. And
silence is no longer an option.
How the growing Inuit MeToo movement is providing space to speak out. We're back in 2. The devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa in the Caribbean is becoming clearer tonight. At least 50 people are now confirmed dead, including 31 in Haiti and 19 in Jamaica. Both countries say they expect that number to rise further. Melissa is now a post-tropical cyclone. A new ruling from the Supreme Court of Canada is coming under heavy fire, including from several premiers and the leader of the official opposition. The 5-4 decision found that a mandatory minimum sentence for possessing or accessing child pornography violates the Charter of Rights and Freedoms because, in some hypothetical cases, it could amount to cruel and unusual punishment. In the case before the court, 2 men were in possession of hundreds of images. The ruling did not affect their sentences. A grassroots social media campaign is giving Inuit women courage and support to come forward with accusations of abuse. Karen Paul's now on the growing Inuit MeToo movement and a warning this story deals with themes of sexual violence.
I was a young
teenager, and I was so confused and totally caught off guard.
36-year-old Ruth Gustow wishes she'd gone to police more than 20 years ago when she alleges Nastanya Mullen, most recently CEO of the Manitoba Inuit Association, sexually assaulted her in his mother's Iqaluit home while she was visiting his younger sister, her best friend.
Like, I cry for those other people that are too scared to come forward.
Gustow and another woman are filing formal complaints with the police. None of the allegations have been proven, and Mullen has not been charged. It's all part of a growing social media campaign dubbed #Inuit MeToo. Inuit singer and author Tanya Tagaq is using her voice to amplify the movement. She is not one of those disclosing alleged abuse.
I can do my best to be a megaphone because I know how scary it is to come forward.
Nearly 1,300 people have signed a petition calling on the Manitoba Inuit Association to do an independent, trauma-informed investigation into the allegations against Mullen.
Silence is no longer an option. It was a scream for justice.
Prominent Inuit organizations and women say survivors need to be believed.
It is the time for us to also speak out on behalf of people who are not able to speak for themselves.
This advocate is trying to support those coming forward.
We want to make sure that these women never feel like they have to be silenced again.
Ruth Gustow says that's exactly why she's sharing her story publicly.
I just want other people to feel safe.
The Manitoba Inuit Association says it has appointed an interim CEO, but it won't answer questions about Mullen's status or if it's investigating the allegations. When we reached Mullen by phone, he said he had no comment he can make at this time. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
FBI Director Kash Patel says his force has foiled a potential terrorist attack planned for Halloween weekend. Federal officials arrested multiple people Friday morning in a Detroit suburb. But as Paul Hunter tells us, details of the alleged plot are still unclear.
This is the FBI, says a voice shouting in Arabic, "Come out with nothing in your hands." And then this. There they go. All of it overnight in Dearborn, Michigan, outside Detroit. A stream of FBI agents seen making their way inside. Then, throughout the day, more agents seen searching that house, along with two others, and as well, a nearby storage unit. Wrote FBI Director Kash Patel on X. This morning, the FBI thwarted a potential terrorist attack and arrested multiple subjects in Michigan who were allegedly plotting a violent attack over Halloween weekend. More details to come.
This is scary. It is. This is something I would watch on TV that would not be in Dearborn.
But little else is known about what led the FBI to make its move. There's reporting it had infiltrated an online chat group, perhaps with links to Islamic State or ISIS, and that some in the group, possibly radicalized, had access to powerful weapons even seen at a gun range. Said to have been referenced in the online chat a code word, Pumpkin Night.
We've been in consultation with the FBI in regard to this matter, and while I can't speak publicly to the details of it, I can just say that I'm very, very grateful for the FBI's work in protecting the community and keeping people safe.
The U.S. president likewise giving no other details.
We're catching people before they ever start. Yeah.
A potential attack, says the FBI, thwarted. Erica.
And Paul, you mentioned the president gave no other details. So far, neither has the FBI.
Yeah, that's right. And there is some reporting tonight that some within the U.S. Justice Department are shaking their heads at the way things have played out. Suggestion being FBI Director Patel acted too quickly and that the steps taken today were rushed, carried out before there was certainty an attack was imminent, and that as a result, the investigation itself into whatever was being planned could be harmed. Erica.
Thanks for this, Paul Hunter in Washington. Two U.S. federal judges are ordering the Trump administration to keep food stamps in place as the government shutdown drags on. The ruling to distribute money through other departments and sources comes just a day before funding for the food aid program is set to run out. Nearly 42 million Americans use what's known as SNAP. The month-long stalemate is the second longest U.S. government shutdown. With tonight's loss to the Dodgers, the Jays will need to win tomorrow for the World Series title. Helping them get there is Vladdy Jr.
And the Blue Jay fans making a ton of noise. And now Guerrero rips one to deep left, and it's gone.
How the superstar slugger turns out the hits with a little hometown help. And
I'll knit on the days they play, and hopefully they play enough that I can actually finish this sweater.
a playoff project stitched with Blue Jays pride in our moment.
Started into left field, but caught. The throw to second in time.
That double play by the Dodgers ended a Blue Jays rally in the bottom of the ninth, and the World Series is now tied at 3 games apiece. So less than 24 hours from now, the teams will again take to the Rogers Center Field. Game 7, the ultimate thrill ride. So Jays manager John Schneider spoke after the game about tomorrow and his faith in starting pitcher Max Scherzer.
That's the 2 best words in sports, you know, Game 7. No better guy to have on the mound to kind of navigate the emotions, the stuff. Max has been getting ready for Game 7 when he knew he was pitching Game 3. So all the confidence in the world in him and everyone tomorrow.
Jays starting pitcher Kevin Gausman also spoke after the game about what he expects from the team tomorrow.
I expect them to come out swinging, use the energy in the building to our advantage. You know, today was incredible and probably gonna be even crazier tomorrow. So, you know, comfort in knowing that. But yeah, I mean, job's not done. But you know, I think George said it best. Like, if anyone told us in spring training we'd be playing Game 7 for the World Series, we would take that.
Now, the intensity of the Game 6 loss was felt really far beyond the Rogers Center. Homes and bars across the country packed with friends and strangers alike. Eli Glasner describes how it all went down where he was, with fans still confident.
Well, it was a game of high drama, some powerhouse pitching. The Jays had their grit, but in the end, grit was not enough, going down to the Dodgers 3-1, which means it's going to be Game 7 for the final of the World Series. It has been an incredible evening here in Toronto in this baseball-themed sports bar. People were on their feet. Can I bring you in for a moment?
Sure.
How are you feeling? So you were very confident. And
I'm still confident.
Still confident.
They just want to, you know what? They're letting us have our moment, and they're extending it so that we enjoy every moment of it.
Right. We didn't want the party to end. We want more baseball.
We want more baseball. It's going to happen tomorrow, Game 7. It's going to be epic, and I have full faith that we're going to do it.
I appreciate your optimism, but explain what happened here. Why do we have to go to Game 7?
Well, I mean, it was a bit of a breakdown in running, so that's okay. It's all right. It was a moment. Weird things happened. It's fine.
But when this team has to perform, when they're backed into a corner.
This team is the underdog. We've been the underdog for a long time. We are shining right now, and it is going to happen tomorrow, absolutely. The entire country is behind this team. It's going to happen.
Amazing. So there you go. And that is certainly the optimism that we are hearing in this bar. It was an amazing evening. The roar from the crowd just when Vladdy was walked. George Springer, his grit in getting on base, clearly fighting through pain. So the Jays still have determination. They're going to have to find something from inside themselves to finally see if they can bring home that win for Game 7. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
Over the past week, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been putting up legendary World Series hitting stats. Nick Purdon caught up with the uncle who has been there from the beginning.
And the Blue Jay fans making a ton of noise. And now Guerrero rips one to deep left, and it's gone.
These are the home runs building Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s playoff legacy. At only 26, he's already the greatest postseason slugger to ever play for the Blue Jays. So how is it that Vlad Jr. is able to walk onto the biggest stage and dominate? A lot of credit has to go to the man who taught him how to play the game, his uncle, Wilton Guerrero.
Vladdy is my son, he's my nephew, he's my little brother because my mom took care of him when he was little.
And Uncle Wilton knows baseball. He played in the major leagues himself for 8 seasons.
I started teaching when he was 5 years old. We started 5 years old, and then at 11, we started work every day. We've been doing like 500 swing, 700 swing a day. We swing a lot.
Vlad Jr. has said that everything he knows about baseball he learned from his uncle. Even during COVID, they worked on Vladdy's swing at a diamond in the Dominican Republic. And as Vladdy got his motivation from his family, now he's the inspiration for countless kids who want to become him. Every kid in the Dominican Republic dreams of making it big. Consider this. The population is only 12 million people, but it produces more Major League ball players than any country outside the United States. And the Guerreros? They're the most famous of all. I know because I once visited the legendary Vladimir Guerrero Sr., Hall of Famer, Major League All-Star, at his home near the town of Don Gregorio.
Look up there, number 27. That is the home of Vladimir Guerrero, the greatest Dominican player to ever play in the major leagues.
Hacían la pelota con la media de uno de su papá y la cosían. Esto era uno de los guantes que uno usaba para jugar.
Vlad Sr.'s humble beginnings are a long way from the $500 million contract his son signed this year with the Toronto Blue Jays. But it's not surprising that Vlad Jr. chose the Jays. The first time the team took the field back in 1977, they had a Dominican player, Rico Carty, on their roster. And the bond between team and country continued to grow. There was George Bell and Tony Fernandez. And then came Jose Bautista and his famous bat flip. Makes you wonder, is the Dominican Republic cheering for the Jays along with Canada? Carlos Lugo is a baseball reporter in the Dominican Republic and a scout for the Los Angeles Dodgers. If you had to pick a side in the Dominican Republic, who are people cheering for?
I'll say right now is the Blue Jays, for sure. It pains me to say, but it's the Blue Jays because of Vladdy's Junior's presence. I think so. I'm sure for that.
And while I have Lugo on the line, how about we get ahead of ourselves a little bit? Who's bigger now, Vlad Sr., Vlad Jr.?
Vlad Sr. is in the Hall of Fame. So let's wait and see with Vladito. But hey, you probably know this, but there's haven't been a father-son combination in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully, Vladdy Jr. maintains this arc of career, and maybe join his dad in Cooperstown.
And winning a World Series sure wouldn't hurt his chances.
And we've got more Jays coverage coming up. But when we come back, we're switching sports from baseball to the Olympic Games.
There are always political factors that push countries and cities forward with bids like this.
Why India is making a big push to host an event more than 10 summers away. Next. If you want to host a Summer Olympic Games, you've got to start early. Just ask India, gunning for 2036.
I would start out with a lot of skepticism about it making sense to do it.
The competition is already tough, and the track record, spotty. But that's not stopping Prime Minister Narendra Modi. South Asia correspondent Salima Shivji looks at India's challenges and its dreams.
Early morning and training is on. Precision and concentration vital as the shots are lined up. For these young athletes diligently practicing an Olympic sport that India excels in, shooting.
Practice. And the Indian supporters go crazy to recognise the bronze medalist.
How cool is this?
It's party time in India.
3 medals in the discipline at the last Summer Olympics in Paris, giving impetus to India's ambitious bid to host the Games for the first time ever in 2036. It's news that makes these 2 teenage shooters cheer.
What do you want to do with this sport? What's your highest goal? Olympics.
Mostly competing in one, they say, but they'd also love to see the Games at home.
It'll be a proud moment for India.
And India has the infrastructure and all, so it's gonna be really great, exciting.
The infrastructure is not quite there yet, but the push is on in the proposed host city Ahmedabad in India's western Gujarat state, where construction on sports venues has already kicked into high gear as India tries to convince officials with the International Olympic Committee that the South Asian country's time has come. A still developing nation with the world's fastest growing major economy.
The lobbying and charm offensive to get the Olympics has been on for months, and Indian officials keep announcing more investments on sports infrastructure. There's a promise to build more than 10 new stadiums here in Ahmedabad.
There's also enthusiasm on the streets, even if India faces stiff competition with rival bids from Qatar, Turkey, and Chile.
See, India earlier was an underdeveloped country, and now they are taking notice of Indians. Matter of pride.
That sense of pride, a key thread when India's Prime Minister spelled out the country's ambition to land the Games during Independence Day celebrations last year.
हिंदुस्तान का सपना है कि 2036 में
We organized a fantastic G20 summit, Narendra Modi says. It proves India can welcome any major event. Our goal is clear, he says. We want to host the 2036 Olympics on Indian soil. To that end, India's team lobbied hard at the Paris Games. And at home,
Paris 2024 Olympic में ये track था.
There's been a concerted years-long effort from Modi's government to up funding and praise for athletes.
भारत के लिए
The government keeps talking up the benefits of hosting the prestigious sporting event for the nation, for development. But the risks are very high.
And the games will be declared open.
In 2010, the Commonwealth Games in Delhi were shambolic, plagued by construction delays, corruption scandals, and massive mismanagement. Now, India will get a do-over, with Ahmedabad set to host the Commonwealth Games in 2030, 6 years before the Olympics that India is trying to land in that same city.
Well, I think there are always political factors that push countries and cities forward with bids like this.
But this expert on the economics of the Olympics says it's extremely rare for any games to be a good idea. It's just not a sound investment.
I would start out with a lot of skepticism about it making sense to do it. It's the sort of thing that can either be a neutral force or a slightly positive force, but the odds are stacked against it.
The IOC has reportedly raised concerns over bad governance within the Indian Olympic Association, high doping rates, and India's dismal record at the Olympics. With a meager 6 medals in Paris for a country of more than 1.4 billion people, their highest total ever in a single Games was only 7 medals. But at the shooting range in Pune, as former World Cup champion Shahu Mane completes another day of training, the question marks over India's Olympic bid are completely overshadowed by the possible benefits.
Getting the Olympics is like, it's the massive stage. Yeah, I feel India can host the Olympics in a well manner because they have the infrastructure right now. The government is trying everything to build up.
It's a winning proposition for all of these athletes. dreaming of gold and glory at home.
India's Olympic push outlined by Salima is one of 5 confirmed bids so far. Well, someone who knows a whole lot about hosting Olympic Games coverage is CBC News legend Heather Hiscox. She's retiring next week, and Ian got a chance to speak with her. Here's an excerpt.
Watching you on television, there are a few things that come to mind. Your excellence, for sure,
Thank
but
you.
also you seem to love your job. Do you still love your job?
More than I did on the very first day when I was 17, which is incredible to imagine, 43 years ago. Absolutely. I love every day. I feel like I'm starting every day, the career all over again. Every interview is fresh. Every guest is interesting.
But if you love it so much and you're still clearly so good at it, why are you leaving?
You know, everything comes to an end. You have to just accept that. And being able to decide when it comes to an end and how it comes to an end is a really great gift. I've been thinking about this for some time, but there's always something in our business, isn't there, to keep us engaged and interested? There's always another Olympics, there's always some other royal event or some interesting political event or thing that you want to cover, that you want to be part of, and that has kept me going. But at a certain point, when I turned 60 last year, it sharpens the focus a little bit. You realize there's a lot less time behind than there is in the future. So if you have any aspirations of doing anything else, this is the time to do it. And so even though the prospect of walking out of this building and this newsroom for the last time is daunting and it's kind of emotional sometimes to think about, it's the right time. And it's well with my soul. I feel like this is the good decision.
And you can see Ian's full interview with Heather this Sunday on The National.
Coming up, a Blue Jays fan pours her passion for baseball into her knitting needles.
It was there with me during the Springer Dinger. I cried on it. I've been watching it through all the World Series.
How she stitched her way through the World Series in our moment. This is Carla Courtney, wearing a sweater that she knit while watching the Blue Jays postseason games. Now, Carla only knits on game days to follow the progress of the team and hopes to finish when the Jays are World Series champions. So tonight, her postseason passion, well, that's our moment.
I wanted a project that would take me through the playoff, thinking I'll knit on the days they play, and hopefully they play enough that I can actually finish this sweater. I live overseas in the UK. I actually said to my family when they get to the World Series, I'm coming home. So I flew back from England. I went to Game 6, knit it during Game 6 through Seattle. I actually spilled mustard on it during Game 6 and was so stressed, but people said, no, it's a ballpark baptism. It was there with me during the Springer Dinger. I cried on it. I've been watching it through all the World Series. So I was walking in front of the Rogers Center and John Schneider was about to go in. And I just kind of ran up to him and asked him to kiss my sweater. He didn't even blink, he just kissed it. It's like a little sweater of memories. And I'm working on the final sleeve. The Blue Jays are kind of like a best friend you had when you were young. Definitely a really important symbol of home for me.
Hey, knitting and high-pressure sports go hand in hand. Olympic athletes do it. My dad was one of the early producers on Hockey Night in Canada, used to ride the trains with the old guys like Tim Horton, said they all were knitters. So we get it. It's stressful. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.